Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. So, today is Wellness Wednesday. That goes without saying. Every Wednesday, for those of you who are new here, we focus on a topic that has to do with health and wellness. And my goal with these Wellness Wednesdays show is to give you information to help you to overcome whatever condition or disease you or a loved one may be facing. And I was inspired to do this particular topic, which I will tell you now, we're going to cover this over the next couple of weeks, maybe between this week, next week, and perhaps the week after. But I was inspired to do this show while standing on a line in the bank just recently. And there was a gentleman who was walking out of the bank as I stood on the line. And I watched him struggle to make his way out of the building. And he honestly looked like the picture of ill health. You could look at him and see that he was not doing well. But the first thing that you would have noticed was how overweight he was. He was what would be termed as obese. And my heart went out to that gentleman because I thought to myself, how many people will look at this gentleman and put the full blame of his condition at his feet and say, oh, you just need to stop being so lazy. You need to go exercise more. You need to stop eating certain foods. You need to take more responsibility for your health. And you all know that I am an advocate for taking responsibility for your health. So I'm not, what I'm about to say is not in any way to say that you have no role to play in your own health, because I am a huge advocate of taking responsibility for your health. But there are some situations that are set up that are, as you will understand as we go through the next couple of weeks, it almost seems like the system is designed to keep you sick, particularly when it comes to obesity. It's like a perfect storm. Several elements coming together to ensure that you have a difficult time keeping the weight off or losing weight to begin with. And as I did my research for the show, I came across a wonderful resource of a series of videos produced by the University of California. And I highly encourage you to look them up yourself after the shows, if you want to learn more. It was produced by UCTV. And these videos really break down for us this perfect storm that exists as it relates to this global epidemic of obesity. The Bahamas is one of the fattest nations in the world. So too is the United States of America. And this problem of obesity doesn't only apply to the Bahamas and America, but it's being seen more and more all over the world, even in developing countries. So, as you will learn throughout the course of this show, there is a definite connection between the system that is in place. And when I say the system, I'm talking about the food system, the pharmaceutical system, the agricultural system, that all seem to come together to create this perfect storm. So I want to begin by encouraging any of you out there who are suffering from the disease of obesity, because yes, it is a disease. I want to encourage you to understand that whereas a lot of people would put the blame solely at your feet for this is not solely your fault or responsibility. Let's go to clip number 1.
How did the entire world get this fat this fast? Did everyone just become a bunch of gluttons and sloths? Obesity has been around since there were people. It's been around for 50,000 years easy. And it was around before McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. It was around before Coca-Cola. Obesity is part of the human condition, and there are evolutionary reasons why obesity has been selected for in individual populations, because people who store energy are more likely to be able to survive periods of famine. So there is a selection process that goes on all the time. But none of those things explain how in 30 years we have gone from being svelte, if you will, to basically being unbelievably sick. That's what an epidemic, or a pandemic in this case, looks like. That's what plague, influenza looked like. And the question is, what would be the exposure that could account for this? And if it was just gluttons and sloths, how do you explain the obese 6-month-old? We have an epidemic of obese 6-month-olds in this country. They don't diet and exercise. You're going to call them a bunch of gluttons and sloths? This goes way beyond the question of personal responsibility.
We have felt like it's the individual's responsibility to keep their energy balance, to eat the right amount and stay the right weight. But when something goes wrong, like the majority of the population becoming overweight, we have to question that model, and we have to look at the forces outside of ourselves, these huge societal, environmental forces that are shaping obesity.
The reason we're in this epidemic can be summed up with one statement, one idea that has become so pervasive, that has become sacrosanct, that it has become dogma. And that statement is, a calorie is a calorie. It's the first thing dietitians learn in dietary school. If you eat more than you burn, you will gain weight. If you eat less than you burn, you will lose weight. And it doesn't matter if those calories come from carrots or cheesecake. The bottom line is a calorie is a calorie. You eat too much, you exercise too little, and that's the mantra. And guess what? It doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because a calorie is not a calorie. The only dogma is there is none.
I'll repeat that. The only dogma is there is. And you're going to learn a lot during the show that will really shake up what you believe or understood as it relates to obesity and weight gain. And I have a confession to make. It's kind of interesting because I found a video that I will play in one of the later shows. I won't play it in this particular show, but I found a video from a medical doctor who was talking about how, when he was treating cancer patients, he had so much compassion for the cancer patients and showed them, because, or diabetic patients, because, well, not so much diabetics, but cancer patients as an example, or somebody with a broken leg or whatever, because this is not something that they could have avoided or that they caused on themselves. And then he talked about how a woman came into his office who was, morbidly obese and was diabetic. And they had this debate as to whether or not she would need an amputation. And he talked about how he treated her not with the same compassion that he treated his cancer patients with, because his attitude towards her was, this could have been avoided if you'd just taken a little care to stop eating so much and stop eating the bad foods and just take better care of yourself. You wouldn't be sitting here facing an amputation. And that was his attitude as a doctor. Until he himself developed a condition which caused him to be insulin resistant. And this was a doctor who clearly was doing all of the right things. And this caused him to wonder, okay, if I did everything right and I still came down with this condition, are we looking at this from the wrong approach? Now, I told you I have a confession to make. Those of you who have been following for a long time know that I've always been a very tiny person. I've always been, what they call skinny all my life. And I think I could relate to what that doctor was saying, because I too was a bit judgmental towards people who were overweight or significantly overweight or obese. You look at the person and you think, my God, this is ridiculous. How could you let yourself get to this? And then I was faced with a situation where, because of being exposed to toxic mold long-term, I gained a ton of weight uncontrollably. Nothing that I did would stop me from gaining weight. I know now why. But what that did for me was it took me out of the skinny girl zone into heavy girl zone, a big girl zone. And then I started to experience the judgment that I perhaps openly or not, I don't think I did it openly, but I started to experience the judgment that I had been displaying towards others who were overweight. I all of a sudden felt their pain. I had people come up to me on some days, gee, Michelle Malcolm, why are you putting on all this weight? And if they got me on a good day, I'd say, oh, you know what happens? Or if they got me on a bad day, boy, I let them have it. I let them have it. I say, so I got a mirror in my house. I need you to tell me I putting on weight, right? But, and Bahamian people especially, we think it's our, duty to tell people they putting on weight like they don't know that, but it really changed perspective for me, because I then understood what it felt like to be in a condition where you are putting on all this weight, you don't know why, you can't, nothing you do works. You could try dieting, you could try this, you could try the next, and nothing worked. I gained, I would say, well over 60 pounds. Now, based on the knowledge that I now have, I've lost over 60 pounds. And I am back to my normal size, what I believe is, just my natural size. But for someone who hasn't come across that knowledge, they are, many of them, silently suffering through this, not understanding what is wrong and feeling guilty because society has made them feel like it's your fault. You are fat because you're lazy, because you wouldn't stop eating garbage, and you just don't care about your health. That's not true. And this is what you're going to learn during this series. The truth is, there is not one cause which causes people to be fat. In my case, I was gaining weight because I was being exposed to a deadly toxin. And your body is an extremely intelligent machine that is solely interested in keeping you alive. So you would have heard in that first clip, the gentleman talked about people storing fat, storing energy for famine. Because what happens, and this is for those of you who are trying to lose weight by starving yourself, that's the worst thing you can do. Because what happens is your body interprets that as, there's a famine going on, so we need to store fat to keep us alive in case we can't find food. So the last thing you should be doing if you're trying to lose weight is starving yourself. But your body is a very intelligent machine that will do whatever it takes to keep you alive. And there are several factors that can cause you to gain weight. Let's go to clip number 2.
Choose your favorite hypothesis. There's so many. Well, what is it in our environment? Is it just the excess of food? Is it the high fructose corn syrup? Is it the antibiotics we're taking, the estrogens, different hormones and hormone mimickers? Is it the intrauterine environment? All of these factors play a role.
Is that it? That's the full clip? Okay, something is missing there. Okay, so as she would have pointed out, all of these factors play a role in weight gain, and we're going to learn more about each of those factors that she mentioned. I don't know what happened to the rest of the clip because it was supposed to be a bit longer than that, where she would break down all of these various factors that go into this. And as we go through this series over the next couple of weeks, you're going to learn more about each of those factors and what you can do if you or a loved one is facing obesity to overcome them. I learned a lot watching this series. I really, really learned a lot. And I'm looking forward to sharing this information with you. And if at any time you have a question that you would like to be answered, I want to invite you to call. The numbers to call are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272, 326-0272. And our WhatsApp number is 824-9952, 824-9952. I want you to go ahead. I'm going to try to resend that clip because I want y'all to hear that full thing. I don't know why that was cut short. So let me see if I can upload the complete clip so that you can hear the whole thing, because the information is important for you to get. And I really don't want to rob you in any way of the information. So let me see if I can upload that so you guys can get the full clip. I'm not sure what happened there, why that was cut short, and I hope the rest of them aren't. But you have to understand, like I said, that, when it comes to weight gain, there are so many factors that lead to being overweight and obese. And much of it, I dare say, seems to be, it's almost like a perfect storm that is being unleashed upon us. And you may say it's all coincidental. Call me a conspiracy theory. I think it's not. I believe that there is an all out war going on for your health. And I believe that that is because of the greed of Big Pharma. And whereas they should be more concerned about helping people to heal, they are more concerned about profits. And so I don't think that it is a coincidence, as you would have heard in a previous show, that Big Pharma has been buying up the seed companies and trying to control take control of the agricultural sector so that they can produce more genetically modified foods, which in turn are sprayed with Roundup, many of them, which cause cancer. And in addition to being sprayed with Roundup and causing cancer, the genetically modified foods have zero or very little nutrition. And so you're eating these foods, you're thinking that you are getting the nutrition that your body needs, you're getting nothing. And then on top of that, you're consuming pesticides and herbicides, and it's a vicious cycle. That clip is ready now. It's the very last one that I just uploaded, the clip number 2. Let's see if we can get that up.
Choose your favorite hypothesis. There's so many. Well, what is it in our environment? Is it just the excess of food? Is it the high fructose corn syrup? Is it the antibiotics we're taking, the estrogens, different hormones and hormone mimickers? Is it the intrauterine environment? All of these factors play a role. So it is not just one thing. I mean, if there's one big thing, it's of course, it is our food environment.
Fast foods, fast preparing, fast eating, and fast causing disease too. And we in our 2-parent working, 2-hour commuting, 2-job life do not have time for food. This is the biggest issue that we currently face. It is the reason that the industrial global diet has taken over the world, is because with all of our labor-saving devices, with the cars and the computers and lawnmowers that you sit on instead of push, etc., all of those things have actually reduced our time, not created it. So this is a function of the changes that we have made in our society, ostensibly for our benefit. The question is, are they?
Well, there's been a number of changes in the last 30 years in how we interact with food, with our food supply. There's over 24,000 different foods that enter the marketplace every year. Then there's the issue of sleep patterning, stress, how we feed our animals, the nutrients in the soil. There's a number of different issues at play. All of these converge on, I think, adding to something to the obesity epidemic.
The Western diet, our diet, that we prize and export all over the globe, has now become the industrial global diet because it's cheap, it's portable, it has no depreciation, witness the 10-year-old Twinkie, and it was designed to taste really good, to keep people eating. This is now everywhere. This is the exposure. This is what has changed.
I think we have had a perfect storm. We have had the confluence of this changed food environment, the restricted activity like no PE in schools, and chemicals that we're not quite sure what we're being exposed to. And they're working together.
So imagine what she just described. Sedentary lifestyles, foods that are being sprayed with all kinds of chemicals, foods that are genetically modified that not only are being sold to us, but are being fed to the animals that we eat, which we then take in whatever they ate. Soils that have been depleted of nutrients. A pharmaceutical industry that is hijacking the agricultural industry so that it ensures that it continues to feed you genetically modified foods that have little to no nutrition. And then add on top of that environmental toxins, the stresses of life in this century, and in the world that we live in. And then on top of that, the habits that we are encouraged to follow. You walk into the food store, and you ever notice how certain things are placed at the end of the aisle? As you go from one aisle to the next, it's right there. Studies show that the foods that are placed at the end of the aisle, when it's placed there, get 30% more sales. And oftentimes the foods that are placed there are bad foods. Or you go to checkout, and all of the stuff that's easy for you to grab is right there. The chips and the candy and this and the next. That is not just by happenstance. That has been planned because they're trying to get you to grab up these things. This is systematic, people. I want you to understand that the responsibility is not all yours. We're going to talk more about that on the other side of the break. We are going to be talking about this perfect storm that you heard the lady mention in the clip. It's fast approaching. Stay with us. This is GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Don't you go anywhere.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim fence and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company. Today is Wellness Wednesday, so we're talking about health today. And the topic today, and I will tell you now, it's going to be over the next couple of weeks because I found so much good information that you must hear, is about obesity. Now, how much of a problem is this here in the Bahamas? Well, let me read this. The country has shown no progress towards achieving the target for obesity with an estimated, listen to this, 41% of adults age 18 years and over, women, and 27.4% of adult men are living with obesity in this country. Again, 41% of adult aged 18 years and older women and 27.4% of adult men in the Bahamas are living with obesity. The Bahamas' obesity prevalence is higher than the regional average of 30.7% for women and 22.8% for men. Now, I remember some time ago, Dr. Dwayne Sands, was castigated for saying, y'all talking about you're big, sexy, but you ain't big, sexy, you're fat. And a lot of people took offense to that. But honestly, if we look at what's happening around the world, we are right up there, as you would have just heard, with the prevalence of obesity. And this is a major problem. But again, I want you to understand as you listen to this show and the ones coming, you will understand that this is so much more than just a personal responsibility. People know this, that a storm is approaching. And I'm not talking about a hurricane. I ain't talking about, some tropical unrest. I am talking about a storm of the fallout from obesity. It is a very serious problem. And if we don't address this, and when I say we, I'm not just talking about us here in the Bahamas, but around the world, we are setting up for ourselves a very, very serious problem that is going to impact all of us. Don't think for 1 second that the person on the outside that you see, that their obesity is only a personal problem for them, because their obesity, even if you are as skinny as a minute to 12, is affecting you as well. And this is why, let's get ready for the next clip, please. This is why we all need to pay attention to this perfect storm that is approaching.
Boy, does that look good. But honey, what'll these calories do to my waistline?
Relax, it's Diet Delight.
There was a big war in the food field back in the 60s and 70s. And the war was fat or sugar. And so we were remanded as a country to reduce our consumption of fat from 40% to 30%. Well, guess what? We did it. We are there. But the total consumption of calories and specifically carbohydrate, and especially sugar, has gone through the roof. So it was that directive, that edict of the late 1970s that started the obesity and metabolic syndrome ball rolling.
It is almost impossible to buy those packaged foods without getting a lot of extra sugars that are just going to be toxic for your metabolism. I'm suspicious of anything that says low-fat or diet, because you know that that means that they've had to compensate with a lot of these added sugars.
A perfect example, snack wells. So what's a snack well? 2 grams of fat down, 13 grams of carbohydrate increased, 4 of which are sugar. No fewer calories, same number of calories. And if fat's not the problem and sugar is, you can see where we're going here.
There's also the change in the food supply so that those highly palatable foods are more easily accessible. So we can reach for that comfort food at any street corner, at any time during the day, and have a few extra calories.
When we talk about the diseases of obesity, we are talking about type 2 diabetes, hypertension, lipid problems, so blood fats, if you will, heart disease. Those are sort of the big four, if you will, that constitute what we classically call the metabolic syndrome. However, we now know that there are several other diseases that fall within this scope as well. For instance, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which now affects 1/3 of all Americans. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, which affects 10% of all women. Cancer, and also dementia. Now here's the key. Everyone thinks that those downstream diseases are because of the obesity, and that could not be further from the truth. The obesity travels with those diseases, but the obesity is a marker for those diseases. 20% of obese people have a completely normal cellular metabolism, and they will live to a normal age. 40% of thin people, normal weight people, have those same chronic metabolic diseases and will die of them. Nobody dies of the obesity per se. They die of the diseases that come from the metabolic dysfunction. So when you do the math, that accounts for 60% of America. We are not talking about a minority. We are talking about the majority. So when you add up the medical costs for those 8 diseases, that is 75% of health care expenditures. Not just ours, not just America, but all over the world. So much so that in September of 2011, the United Nations Secretary General announced that non-communicable disease, that is chronic metabolic disease, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, cancer, dementia, now posed a bigger threat to the developing world, not the developed world, the developing world, than did acute infectious disease, and that includes HIV. This is enormous. This is mind-boggling. This is absolutely staggering that developing countries have a bigger problem with obesity and diabetes than they do with cholera and other infections. When you think about that, that really has to stop and give you pause.
Something is going on here. And I want you to understand something. When it comes to non-communicable diseases, the numbers far surpass by miles any numbers as it relates to COVID-19. There's an article that appeared in Eyewitness News online, in 2019, February of 2019. I want to read this, at least the first portion of it. Statistics have revealed that 80% of Bahamians are obese, according to then Minister of Health, Dr. Dwayne Sands, who referred to the figure as disappointing and is mainly due to just what the show's talking about, bad lifestyle choices. The health minister said poor food options have also led to persons contracting diseases such as diabetes and cancer, which he said also places a strain on the public healthcare system. The old people say, if you like it, let it kill you. And we are doing exactly that, Dr. Sands told Eyewitness News in a recent interview, adding that the consumption of sugary and fatty foods has placed Bahamians in a horrible situation as it relates to their health. The numbers are staggering, he said. There are more than 100,000 Bahamians with either full-blown diabetes or prediabetes, 144,000 with hypertension, and more than 80% are obese. Not solid, obese, Dr. Sands said. Research conducted by Eyewitness News revealed that there are more than 50 fast food restaurants on New Providence alone. I put in the alone. And because of this, Dr. Ida Mae Hanna, a registered dietitian, said she understands why Bahamians find it hard to maintain a healthy lifestyle. More than 50 fast food restaurants on New Providence alone. Every time you turn around, there's another American franchise that is popping up, serving unhealthy foods that are cheap and easily accessible. And meanwhile, if you decide that you want to eat healthy and you go into the food store, you better carry your land papers with you, because it ain't going to be cheap. Now, I have for a long time advocated shopping for non-perishables, from your local farmers. Go to the farmers market. Establish a relationship with your local farmers so that you are ensuring that the foods that you're eating, that they are growing, are organic. They're fresher, longer shelf life because they don't travel as far. And generally speaking, you should be able to get a better price than what you're paying in the food store on most of the items. Especially if you go to the produce exchange. Very, very affordable. Very affordable. But the problem is the system does not make it easy for you to eat well. You are being bombarded with images of cheap, fast food that is killing us. We are training our children to eat poorly because we don't have the time to go home and prepare a meal anymore because everybody's running. So the quickest thing to do is grab a bite to eat on the way home. And all of this is contributing to us having the level of obesity that we have in this country. It is frightening. But this is where we are at. But I don't say that it is solely the responsibility of you if you are obese. And as we go through this show, you're going to understand more and more why I am saying that. Because it's set up for you to fail if you're trying to eat well. It's set up for you to be obese. It's set up for you to be sick from the obesity so that you then have to rely on pharmaceuticals to get well or to maintain and manage your disease, because pharmaceuticals are designed really to manage an illness. So you see where I'm going with this in terms of this being a systematic, perfect storm? There's no accident here. Who is it over the years have allowed us to get to the place where on this little 21/7 island, we have over 50 fast food restaurants? Now it's only 21/7. Who is it who gave approvals for all of these fast food franchises to come into the country that we know are not serving healthy foods for the most part? They may have one or two items on the menu that are a little healthier than the rest. But, you know, for the most part, you're talking quick fast food, the burgers, the fries, you know, the fried chicken, all that stuff. Who approved all of this? And when we look at what is happening as it relates to with this pandemic and so many people needing assistance with food, and then when we look at what we were giving these people to eat, like 52, one of our frequent callers or frequent listeners said the bread casket items, because these are foods that really designed to keep people sick. You wonder, is this all just a coincidence? Or is there something going on here that this is a design to keep us sick? There is no way you're going to tell me, with all of the advances in medicine and all of the, you know, knowledge that we're supposed to have, how is it that as opposed to getting healthier, we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker? Somebody explain that to me, please. How is it that we have babies now who are battling obesity? Babies. How have we come to the place where we are skeptical about nutrition, but we don't have any problem popping 12 different pills that the doctor say we got to take for all 12 different ailments? How have we come to the place where we think that some formula that was created in a lab in a container is better for our babies than the breast milk that God designed us to feed our children with? How have we come to this place? How have we gotten here? The sad thing is, it's not just the Bahamas. 68% of deaths worldwide are on account of a non-communicable disease. 68%. Compare that to the percentage of people who have died from COVID-19 since the beginning of this pandemic. 68% of deaths worldwide are on account of a non-communicable disease. By the year 2030, that number is going to look like 44 million people per year are expected to die from a non-communicable disease. And obesity is prevalent, high on the list. Who is benefiting from the world being this fat and this sick? Because somebody benefiting. I don't want you to 1 second believe that somebody is not benefiting from this. Follow the money. Now, hopefully throughout this series, we're going to give you information that will help you not just to understand where you are and why you're there, but to give you tools that you can use to try to reverse the condition, to try to get healthier. It can happen. I just told a young lady the other day, I was talking to a young lady who's been having weight struggles, and I said to her, listen, at my age, if I am able to lose 60 pounds at my age, my metabolism ain't nowhere near as robust as yours at 26. So imagine how much we could get you in better shape if you just did the right thing and follow the instructions that I'm about to give you. Because if at my age, I can shed 60 pounds, more than 60 pounds, with my metabolism being what it is, with a chronic thyroid condition, and, you know, I developed that listening to the health people drinking soy milk, which I later learned helped to destroy my thyroid. But that's another show. Imagine younger persons, children. But the word of God says, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And unfortunately, we have bought the narrative that the only people who know anything about our health are the very people who I dare say are helping to keep us ill. Keep in mind, people, the pharmaceutical companies own the seed companies. They're producing genetically modified foods. They're spraying those genetically modified foods with Roundup. They're selling them to you. You're getting sick, and then you got to go right back to them for the medication to keep you managed, not to heal you. And then you have to look at the relationship between the pharmaceutical companies and the medical professionals. And you know what? Let me just say this right at the very beginning. I do not blame or put any blame for this at the feet of medical doctors, because I believe that every person who goes into medicine went into that because they want to be a healer. They want to help people. They want to help save lives. I believe that with all my heart. I don't know anybody, and I know doctors. Some of my family members have become medical doctors, and they all go into that because they want to help people to get better. They want to help people to heal. So I'm not putting this at their feet, but they are a part of a system, and it is the system that I take issue with, because the system, it seems, has been designed to keep you unhealthy enough so that you can rely on that pharmaceutical. This is diabolical. I don't know what else to call it other than that. But in the course of the next several weeks, we're going to learn exactly what is keeping you overweight, and more importantly, what you can do to reverse that, so that you too can get back to what should be your normal natural weight. Because we all have a natural weight that if we were in great health and in the best health, in optimal health, that our bodies are intelligent. Your body knows exactly where you ought to be weight wise. And if you are healthy, your body will get you there. But whenever you see somebody that is obese, do not only say, oh, that person just lazy and like to eat fast food. There is something more going on. Now, I'm not saying that you should go eat all the fast food you want to eat because you're saying to yourself, "For the day, my fault." Don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. But I just want you to understand that there is a bigger picture. The telephone numbers to call again: 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, and the second number to call: 326-0272, 326-0272, and our WhatsApp line is 824-9952. 824-9952 is the number to message us on WhatsApp. If you have a question or a comment that you'd like to make, we invite you to go ahead and reach out and let us know. I want you to leave the show with some hope, because I know a lot of people, it can be very frustrating. Trust me, I've been there. It can be very, very frustrating when you know that you're doing all that you can and this weight ain't budging. I know how that feels. I know how that feels. And I know, especially when you know that it is a medical condition that you're dealing with that has led to you being overweight, and sensitive people think that it is their job to point out to you that you've gained weight. Like you don't know that. Like you ain't got no mirror in your house and you don't see your clothes getting small, but they got to come and tell you that. And I want to encourage you all Bahamians to stop that foolishness. It ain't cute. Because if anybody's overweight, they already know that, and they don't need you to tell them that. You ain't doing them no favors. Somebody, and I think some people do it just to be mean. Somebody told me of how they handled someone once. They said, somebody came to them and said to them, "Girl, you putting on so much weight." And she said, "Oh, really? Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. I've been trying to put on weight." She said, and the person was like shocked, like they didn't know what else to say, and they just walked away. And sometimes that's what you got to do, is shut people up. you know? And another thing that amazes me sometimes is people who themselves could lose a pound or two, and they quick to tell you need to lose weight. I'm like, okay, uh, what about you? But seriously, people, y'all need to stop that foolishness because you don't know what people are going through. Some people have truly a medical condition that is causing them to not be able to lose weight. And as we're learning in this show, obesity is a disease that is encouraged by a system. So stop making people, stop doing that. That's not cute. It's not funny. It's not cute. Anybody who's overweight know that they're overweight, and they don't need you to remind them of that. As a former big girl. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what I'm going to call sickeningly sweet. Sickeningly sweet. And we're going to break down sugar because sugar is a big part of this conversation. And you need to understand the different types of sugar and what it is doing to your body. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Stay with us. This is GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here, and today is a Wellness Wednesday, so that means that we're talking all about your health today. And the topic today, and I will tell you it'll be for at least another two Wednesdays, is obesity. Because I found a really great resource of videos that have been produced by the University of California, UCTV, about obesity. And I thought, my God, I have to share this with my audience because the information is just amazing. And, my goal is to try to bring information as much as I can to my audience to make sure that you are empowered and able to live better lives because of the knowledge that you receive. And so that's what we're doing here today. And we'll do every Wednesday to help you along the path towards better health. The telephone numbers again, 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272, 326-0272. And the WhatsApp line is 824-9952, 824-9952. Now, you would have heard me say on this show before, or at least one of my guests would have said in the past, I think it was Ben Fuchs, talking about sugar and the role that sugar plays in high cholesterol. You would have heard me say that high cholesterol is a result of a blood sugar imbalance. And he explained really, really well the role that sugar plays. And you're going to hear more about that in this next clip. One of the things that he talked about, you may recall, is that sugar tricks the body into believing that it is building. And when your body is building, it needs cholesterol to help with that building process. So if you are, the next, that would be clip number 4. So if you are not doing something that requires a great amount of energy, but you are consuming sugar, then you are tricking your body into believing that it is building, and your body produces more cholesterol. And so this is why when you are faced with elevated cholesterol and triglycerides, the response should be to balance your blood sugar, not to take a statin drug to lower cholesterol throughout your body, including your brain. We covered this last week, I think it was, that causes dementia. So the challenge is that high cholesterol, is not the only condition that you could end up with if you are consuming sugar, which is tricking your body. And as we go back to the series produced by UCTV, they call this section of the series Sickeningly Sweet. And in this next clip, you're going to learn a lot about sugar and the role that it plays in your body.
There are a lot of arrows these days pointing to sugar, refined sugar, high fructose corn syrup, that these are really causing some pretty wacky metabolism that didn't exist when we were eating more of the complex carbohydrates.
We've done a recent analysis of the Food and Agriculture Organization database. We've linked it to the International Diabetes Federation database, country by country. And what we have found is that while total calories do explain an increase in diabetes rates around the world, the effect size is very small. But when you start breaking it down by what those calories are, turns out the only one that correlates with the increase is sugar. A calorie is not a calorie. Sugar is 50 times more potent than total calories in explaining diabetes rates worldwide. When we started putting fat and carbohydrate on the same plate in the 1700s, we became gourmets. In the 20th century, when we started putting fat and carbohydrate in the same food, we became gourmands. It's when you put fat and carbohydrate together that they don't work. And sugar, because of its unique composition, is the only food on the planet that is both fat and carbohydrate at the same time. Even fatty fruits, coconut, olive, avocado, have no carbohydrate. There is no foodstuff on this planet that has both fat and carbohydrate at the same time. It's one or the other because that's evolution, that's nature, that's what God did, except for sugar. So you say, wait a second, sugar? Where's the fat in sugar? Sugar is made up of two molecules, one called glucose, which is not very sweet and not very interesting, and fructose, which is very sweet and very interesting, and it's the thing we seek, it's the thing we crave. And they are not the same. Glucose and fructose are very different. Glucose is metabolized by all the organs in the body. Every single living organism on the planet can digest, absorb, and metabolize glucose. Glucose is the energy of life. If you don't have glucose in your diet, your body makes it because your cells run on it. And 80% of the carbohydrate, glucose, that you consume is metabolized by all the organs in the body. Only 20% go to the liver. Fructose, on the other hand, is not glucose. Fructose can only be metabolized in the liver because only the liver has the transporter for fructose. All of the fructose goes to the liver. So you're overloading your liver. That's the rub. The fructose goes straight to the mitochondria, gets turned to fat. The little bit of glucose goes to glycogen until it's replete, and then it goes to fat as well. And you have a recipe for mitochondrial meltdown, mitochondrial constipation, mitochondrial disease. And when you have mitochondrial disease, you get sick. Fructose is a chronic, dose-dependent hepatotoxin, liver toxin, which is just like alcohol. In fact, fructose, the sweet part of sugar, is more like alcohol than it is anything else. Alcohol is metabolized to fat, and so is fructose, driving more liver fat that it can't export, more liver insulin resistance, which drives the pancreas to make extra insulin, driving energy deposition into fat cells peripherally, driving your weight gain, and the extra insulin is driving high blood pressure, driving heart disease, driving cell division, which leads to cancer, driving changes in the brain, which lead to dementia, driving every single one of these diseases. And when your pancreas can't make enough insulin and it burns out, it drives diabetes as well. And if you look at the diseases of alcohol and the diseases of sugar and obesity, they are the same. Now, fructose and alcohol can both be nutrients. They supply energy. They're natural. And if you're starving or you're glycogen depleted because you just ran a marathon, fructose and alcohol can be used to rebuild your energy stores, and in which case they are not toxins. But if you're not running a marathon, then what your liver cells do with both fructose and alcohol is turn it into liver fat, then it's a toxin. People think that when you add sugar to food, it has nothing to do except increase taste. Not true. When you add sugar to processed food, you kill it. And it's killing us.
Okay. I just hope that this is sobering for you, because the statistics aren't lying as it relates to the health condition of the majority of our people. We can't continue to, like the old saying says, if you like it, let it kill you, because it truly is killing our people. And I was kind of glad that they made the connection between, or the comparison, I should say, between sugar and alcohol. Because in the same way that alcohol is an addictive drug, sugar should be classified as an addictive drug. It's a drug. Um, I was at a church function last weekend. One of my church sisters gave her son a sip of soda, and it was only a couple of minutes later that he just he started moving, and so and so one of our other church sisters said, "You gave him something sweet to drink?" She said, "Yeah, I just gave him a sip of soda." She said, "Okay, he acted like it." Because at that young age, that sugar went straight to the brain. Straight. Sugar is a drug. Now, I want y'all to picture something. You know, we have all of these regulations as it relates to alcohol, right? So you have to be a certain age to walk into a liquor shop, and well, you're supposed to be to be a certain age. You're not supposed to sell liquor to children. They're not supposed to. We have guidelines and regulations that govern how liquor is sold in this country. So imagine that those regulations were gone. Imagine that you walk into a gas station and there's all this liquor right in front of you that you can just purchase, and the age doesn't matter. Imagine that you walk into the food store and there's liquor everywhere, especially at the ends of the aisle that are encouraging you to pick it up. Imagine that there's no limitation on how much liquor you can drink. Um, you know, age limitations are gone. Liquor is just free for all. What do you think would be the result? We would have a nation of alcoholics at all ages. We would have children out drunk, right? They put those regulations on alcohol for a reason, because they recognized that alcohol is an addictive drug and that it could lead to problems. Imagine now if we did the same thing with certain foods that we eat that are loaded with sugar. Because sugar is a drug. And if you don't believe me, just give your little child a couple sips of that and watch them start freaking out from the results of that sugar getting into their system. Sugar is a dangerous drug that, as the clip so well pointed out, leads to all of these diseases that are really providing a huge strain on the healthcare system of the nation. But yet, it is freely available to anyone and everyone. There is no age limit. There are no limitations. There's no, holding back on the amount of, or the time or whatever. No, it's available to any and everyone. So perhaps we should start to look at it from another viewpoint. Perhaps we need, no pun intended, a paradigm shift. If we are truly serious about what we say we want for the nation as it relates to our health, then we need to be upfront and honest about the things that are keeping our nation unhealthy. And we need to put systems in place to make it harder to access those things, or put regulations on those things like we do with things like alcohol. So when you have a blood sugar imbalance, I want you to understand, when I say blood sugar imbalance, I don't only mean that you are diabetic, because you could have a blood sugar imbalance and not get to the threshold of diabetes, but you still have an imbalance that is impacting your health. And there are a lot of people who right now are facing conditions and not tying it back to a blood sugar imbalance. So they don't think that they have a problem, even though they do. So I just want to go over a couple of the conditions, that the diseases that you may be facing if you have a blood sugar imbalance. How many people, or children especially, do you know that are battling ADD or ADHD, attention deficit disorder, or attention deficit hyperactive disorder? I think that's what it's called. That's a blood sugar imbalance. Adrenal failure can be from a blood sugar imbalance. Anxiety can be the result of a blood sugar imbalance. Bed wetting, yeah, blood sugar imbalance. Bipolar disorder, blood sugar imbalance is a major part of bipolar disorder. Cardiovascular disease can result from a blood sugar imbalance. Depression, obviously, diabetes, that goes without saying. We've talked about elevated cholesterol and triglycerides, blood sugar imbalance, fainting spells, fatigue, hyperactivity, hypoglycemia, infertility, that could be impacted by a blood sugar imbalance, learning disabilities, migraine headaches, moodiness, narcolepsy, we call it dropsy, where you fall and sleep all over the place, night sweats, clearly obesity, which this show is about today. These are just some of many diseases that are a result of a blood sugar imbalance. And you all know by now that I am big on nutrition. And nutrition is one thing that can, if you clean up the diet and stop eating the bad foods, and you take the right type of nutrition, because not all supplements are created equal, you can actually reverse blood sugar imbalances naturally. The two main minerals that the body is craving when you have a blood sugar imbalance is chromium and vanadium. Now, we believe that every human being needs 90 essential nutrients. Boy, woman, boy, girl, man, woman, everybody, regardless of your health condition, we believe that everyone needs 90 nutrients, because that's just like the gasoline for your car, right? But in addition to those 90, if you are battling one of those conditions, if you have a blood sugar imbalance, you take some chromium and vanadium in addition to that, and you would be amazed at how your body will respond. I have actually had clients on insulin who, after taking the chromium and vanadium, just after a couple of dosages, send me pictures with their blood sugar readings, and they're in shock, saying, I've never seen anything like this, because your body is crying out for nutrition. Another sign that you may have a blood sugar imbalance is if you have like toenail fungus. That could be a sign that you have a blood sugar imbalance. If you are somebody who craves sweets or carbs, you definitely have a blood sugar imbalance, because your body is constantly scanning for these 90 nutrients. It's like a computer. It knows what it needs to function. And so it's constantly scanning for these 90 nutrients. And when you don't have sufficient nutrients in your system, it will actually give you a craving to go out and eat something in the hopes that it's going to get the nutrients it needs. So if you're a person who is craving carbs and sweets a lot, you definitely have a blood sugar imbalance. You give your body the chromium and vanadium it needs, plus the 90, and the next thing you know, you're not having cravings anymore. I hear it all the time. Ms. Malcolm, I'm not craving for sweets after dinner anymore. No, because your body is getting what it needs. So it has no reason to send you out to look for something sweet, because it is getting what it needs. Your body is an intelligent machine. Your body knows what to do. It wants to heal. It's trying to heal. It knows what to do to heal. But you have to give it the building blocks of support in order for it to do its job. And once you do that and get the hell out of the way, you would be shocked at how well you will become. But we cannot ignore the fact that there is this system that seems to be set up to cause us to fail. And my encouragement, if anyone is listening, any of the powers that be, my encouragement is for our government, our leaders, to do the right thing as it relates to making healthier food accessible to more people and putting higher tariffs on foods that are not. Make it harder for the food stores to bring in the bad stuff. Why are we still selling accent in this country? Why? And we know, and I'm sorry for those who bring in accent, but it's not a healthy thing. Why are we still selling that? For the life of me, I wonder sometimes if we are serious about getting our people healthier. Because if you look at the bread casket items, not bread basket, bread casket, you have to wonder, are we really serious about getting people healthier? If so, why you got a bunch of white flour, processed meats with nitrates and nitrites in them, and all other manner of, noodles and stuff that, come on, man. That's what you're feeding people. And then on the other hand, you're saying, well, you need to take more responsibility for your health. We have to do better as a nation, not just as individuals. We cannot put the responsibility solely at the feet of individuals when your system is set up to help them fail. And then you make them feel guilty because they couldn't succeed. Something wrong with that picture. And we really, really need to get serious about helping our people to become healthier if we are serious about improving the overall health of our nation. There is no godly reason why 81% of our population should be facing 81%? The sad thing is we are eating foods which are not giving us any nutritional value. The fast foods that we're eating, 50, I didn't even know that, 50 fast food restaurants in this one little island, 21/7. Good God. The fast foods that we are consuming every day have very little nutrition in them. So you're eating food, but your body is constantly scanning for these 90 nutrients. So even though you're eating food, short while after you eat that, you're hungry again because you didn't give the body what it needed to function. And so what do? You hungry again, you go find something else to eat. Chances are the thing that you go find to eat, unhealthy, no nutrients. What do? You go back after an hour or two looking for something else to eat. So you're constantly hungry. It's not because you don't have discipline. It's because the foods that are being pushed on us are nutritionally void. So you're not getting the nutrients that your body needs to function, and your body will crave. Your body will send you to go find more food because all it's looking for is the 90 nutrients. So as opposed to making people feel guilty that they don't have the willpower, how about we stop pushing foods on people that are nutritionally void, and then when their body does what it was designed to do, we try to make them feel like failures. This is a systematic problem, and it is systemic. So I dare say that I'm not too sure that we are serious about getting our people healthier, because if we were, we would make some decisions that may not be easy, but necessary to put some tariffs on some things that these people keep bringing into this country that they know are killing the population. We got to do better. We have to do better if we expect to get this nation healthy. So the numbers to call, 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, or 326-0272, 326-0272, 326-0272, and our WhatsApp line, 824-9952, 824-9952. Is that a caller? Caller, welcome to GPS. Hello, caller.
Yes, good afternoon, Michelle.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I
I
can.
can.
Hear you. I have to turn up the volume a little bit. Listen.
Okay, go ahead. We can hear
Yeah.
you.
Okay. I just want to say to you, you have a great show, and
Thank
what
you.
you're saying really makes a lot of sense. Because when you talk about that, the fact that you keep running, you're hungry all the time because you're eating a bunch of garbage,
Right.
and it's true. But Michelle, you can never be able to stop the fast foods from opening and closing. One thing I've made my reservation, I've told myself that before I go and buy a hamburger or something from the fast food, I'll go to Subway. Maybe, I don't know, you could probably do something on that to tell me how Subway is, because that's the only thing I could find, which is a trick, getting in and out. So, because everybody wants to get in and out for quick sandwich, but maybe they should try Subway.
They're
Try
not
it.
okay. So before you go any further, please stop calling their name on the show because they don't advertise on the show. But
I'm
they're
sorry,
but
maybe
but they're not
listen
the
and
they're not the only healthy option out there. There are others.
Well, give me some options then, because I love to hear them. Because
Okay,
I've
so
been
try one of my sponsors is Tropical. Is he sponsoring the show yet? No, I know he intends to. Tropical Euros on Rosetta Street. I know he's about to start sponsoring the show
on
soon.
Rosetta Street and start advertising these guys. Let people know that's a
No, I know that
now.
I know that he's gonna start advertising very soon because we've had a couple of conversations and he's almost there, almost ready. And then
Yeah,
another
good.
one that is about to start advertising as well, All Things Natural.
Okay.
And they're also in Palmdale.
Yeah,
But there are
But they
other
sell
options.
sandwiches. They sell sandwiches, Michelle.
All Things Natural.
Uh-huh.
They have salads, sandwiches, everything.
Okay, great.
Same thing with
Well,
Tropical
that's-
Euros.
Yeah, that's what people need to know. You see, because the Wendy's, the McDonald's, these other guys are way out there bold. But the other guys are not really advertising. That's their problem. They need to start getting
It
out
costs
more.
money, man. The big companies have the resources to advertise like that. We got to encourage the smaller business persons because they don't have the same they don't have the same revenue, the same money that the bigger chains do.
I agree with you 100%. Because I found out of myself. These fast food places, they're making money.
Oh,
and
man.
they're giving the people.
I think I heard somewhere that the Bahamas led the world in sales in Wendy's. The world.
Wow. And they're opening up again right now.
Why not? I would be opening up too.
Yeah.
I got you lining up every day to go buy.
Yeah, but continue saying what you're saying because you can make them aware. Because I had to get off it myself. Believe me, I was an addict to those fast food.
And there's a reason because they put addictive stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
This thing is so sinister.
I'm telling you, they're there to kill us, and they don't care. They are the little lettuce and tomatoes, and they're giving you something that help you, but it's really not enough.
And then you got to wonder if the lettuce and tomatoes what they're giving you ain't genetically modified.
Thank you very much. That's the whole problem. They're only looking to make a buck. It's so sad, man.
Yeah.
You blame the government too. They're responsible because if they would only learn to do the things. But I always tell you, Michelle, the system is designed to take us out. Mm-hmm. They don't want a bunch of people on the world. They want less. So even the virus, but they send the COVID that was designed just to take out the obese and the people with underlying issues. You see how much people died from that?
Listen to me. I am going to do a show. I have a clip with Bill Gates talking about Omicron.
Right.
And Bill Gates actually said, sadly,
thank you.
Omicron acted as a vaccine.
Thank you.
Sadly. I say,
sadly.
So you're unhappy that Omicron happened to solve this problem? You unhappy?
Exactly. They don't care about us, man. And these guys, I feel like they must think they can live forever. But it always brings back, the Bible. When you study the Bible and you realize that these people are waiting for the peace. You have to understand that. Just like Biden in the White House, he's waiting for the peace. You understand? No man would go and cripple his own country and enrich another country unless you're waiting for the peace. That's what, and that's why I always tell them, when the 7 days people come around and the Jehovah's Witness, I tell them, let me tell you something. The time you all take being so divided, you all need to go and fight against the beast because that's what's going on. They're taking over the world and you're just sitting down calmly and saying, okay, it's all well and good. I tell them that's not right. Christians are too complacent. They need to get up and start working. We need to take back our government. That's what we need. And you realize that so much people in the churches. Imagine if everybody was just care to themselves and say, look here, I'm tired of these governments are just abusing us. And let's join together and let's vote them out. What do you think would happen? There'll be a new government in power. But the people who are in the heads, the leaders of the church, are the ones waiting for the beast themselves. And Lord, forgive me for saying it. I can only say allegedly because you can't say for sure. But believe me, you'll know them by their fruit. They don't judge them, but watch them by their fruit.
Right.
Look at what they do.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, thanks for calling. I got to take a break.
Okay.
But thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, so let's take this quick break. And then on the other side, we have to talk about hidden sugars, y'all, because I tell y'all, this thing is a plan. They hiding sugar all over the place, but you don't expect it to be. Y'all need to become professional label readers. These people got a plot and a plan, and they on your side. So we'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Stay with us. This is GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company. Today we're talking about obesity. And based on some information that I found as I was preparing for the show, I found a really great series of videos produced by the University of California, UCTV, and I'm going to be showcasing these videos over the next couple of weeks because I was really like, wow, this information is really something that we need to get out to the masses. So I'm going to be, I would say over the next 2 weeks or so, we're going to be talking about this. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon. I'm a first-time caller.
Thank you.
And I am one of those persons who also experienced the addiction of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And I too realized that I couldn't fight it on my own. So I went and got some professional help from a health center.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was listening to you, and you talked about vanadium. I've always heard about chromium,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never heard about vanadium because I still, from time to time, have cravings. Yes, I've lost some weight, but I still have not reached my goals.
Right.
But I've not heard about vanadium. I take chromium, I take magnesium, and I changed my eating habit. Of course, on occasion, I have a sandwich from one or two of the fast foods on occasion, which is like maybe twice, 3 times a year. But you know, it's very rare. If I don't have the time, I prefer to cook at home.
Yeah.
Or purchase a salad if I'm hungry. I'll choose from a smarter portion of the menu. But I would like to know what's the role of vanadium and how does it help someone who one is trying to maintain and lose, also processing of carb because I'm also a diabetic.
So here's what I want you to do. I want you to leave your telephone number with my producer. because if you're diabetic, then you definitely need both chromium and vanadium in addition to the 90 nutrients, because they work hand in hand to try to balance out your blood sugar. Diabetes, type 2 diabetes in particular, is a result of a nutritional deficiency. Once you give your body the nutrition that it needs, it will correct itself. Are you type 1 or type 2?
Type 2, and I do a lot of greens. I use a lot of smoothies, kale, spinach, a lot of juicing, and that has helped my body to balance out quite a bit, but I still have not gotten the proper balancing so that it doesn't spike. I'm interested in the vanadium, really, to know more about it.
Okay, leave your number with my producer. I'm going to reach out to you after the show, because quite frankly, you need to start with the balance of the 90 and then add the chromium and vanadium on top of that, and you will be shocked at how quickly your blood sugar levels will become normal. Are you on insulin or just medication?
No, I take tablets once in the morning and once in the evening.
Okay.
And sometimes I don't take it because once I'm eating, my food is balanced, it drops to normal ranges. But there are times that it spikes that I have to take it.
Right. Yeah. It's just a matter of getting you on a level, getting the nutrition that your body needs, in a measured amount. And so trust me, that's easy to fix. Things like type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, easy fix. All you have to do is introduce the right nutrition into your body and avoid the bad foods. And I'm telling you, I have had people on insulin who saw a drastic improvement. Now, type 1 diabetes is a bit different because you're born with the problem, and the problem, and we're going to hear a little bit more about this in this series. The problem took place in the mother's womb. If the mother didn't have adequate nutrition, listen, this series blew my mind. I was up until 3 o'clock this morning getting all these videos because I was like, oh my God, this is so good. But if the mother does not have adequate nutrition during the period that the fetus is being formed, then that is the problem that results in type 1 diabetes. So this nutritional thing, it is so important. And I'm not sure if it's this particular clip I'm going to play next. I don't think so. I think it's in a clip for a future show when they were talking about the importance of women, especially childbearing women, having adequate nutrition, because what happens in your body, you transfer to your child in the womb.
I agree.
So listen, this thing goes so deep. That's why I decided to do a series on this. But leave your number and your name. I will reach out to you after the show, and then I will offer you a free consultation where we can go over your I can have you do a health evaluation to find out what your health score is, and then I can make recommendations as to what you need to do to get rid of that type 2 diabetes once and for all. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling. I really do appreciate it. Okay. So hidden sugars is a problem, people. Hidden sugars is a big problem. You know, when we was growing up, we used to play hide and seek. Well, guess what, y'all? The food industry playing hide and seek with y'all. The food industry is playing a sinister game of hide and seek. They looking for places to hide the sugar. And you would be absolutely shocked if you read labels to see how much sugar they put in some of these foods. And some of these foods y'all think are healthy. I was attending a function the other day, and they had, a little continental breakfast set out for us, and they had some yogurts there. And probiotic, it said. So I picked it up, and I turned the thing over to see what the label said. 32 grams of sugar in a healthy yogurt. For those of you on radio, I did the fingers to say, quote unquote, healthy yogurt. 32 grams of sugar. And I ain't talking no big container, one little small container. But they got on the front probiotic. So if you aren't in the habit of reading labels, you would look at that and think, oh, this is good. I heard probiotics are good. Let me eat one of these. Is that a caller for the show? Okay, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS. Hi, caller.
Hi, good evening, good afternoon. How are you?
Great. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. I have to say I do agree with you when it comes to the consumption of too much sugar and fast food. But there are healthy options at these fast food places, Michelle. We just refuse to take them. Okay, there are addictive substances in French fries and things like that. And when you go to Subway, take for example, if I were to eat Subway, my next question is, okay, what am I going to have for lunch? Because it doesn't fill you, and that's our issue. We don't eat we don't we eat to get full. Okay, and portion control is a big issue with us as well. Everything in moderation. You can eat what you love and enjoy it. You just don't have to overdo it.
No, some things
And
you
we
can't
tend
eat.
to overdo it.
Some things I hear you, but some things you just need to avoid altogether.
I don't. I totally agree with you. There's an issue when it comes to fertility in the Bahamas. It's called PCOS. It's polycystic ovary syndrome, and that is largely due in part to an imbalance of insulin and sugar in your body, and that can affect your ability to have children. And I am a living example of that. When I learned that that was a syndrome, okay, and because it's a syndrome, you can reverse it.
Yes.
And I was able to reverse it through diet and exercise. I lost about 70 some pounds simply exercising, just walking, and I removed processed foods from my body. I removed from my diet. I stopped eating processed foods. I stopped consuming a lot of sugar because that's what feeds it. And when you have that, that can be a precursor to diabetes. And so you treat it the same way you would if you had diabetes, okay? You avoid the processed foods. You eat a lot of healthy fats and things like that. And before you know it, your blood sugar is regulated, and my diet was really, really clean. And when I got a craving for something, I ate it, and it went away, and that was it. And I reduced my portion sizes. And before you know it, the weight, my body responded so well to what I was doing, the weight just came off.
It will melt away.
It melted away.
Yeah.
And I before you knew it, I had kids, okay? And I say all that to say many of these things can be removed
Absolutely
altogether
reversed
because of what we eat. But we also need to train our children. When we look at the choices that they get in schools, they are far from healthy. And what they say, the kids won't buy them. They won't. But that is not true, because if you provide options, healthy options for our children, healthier options, they will eat them. And it's telling on our teens, especially. Their diets are not very healthy. They're lethargic. They're always sleepy. They don't think clearly, and it all goes back to what they eat. They consume very few fresh fruits and vegetables. Okay. Everything is processed. There are chips, there's candy, and I'm trying to weed it out of my diet, my family's diet as well, because of all of the health issues.
Yeah.
Okay, but we must do it from starting with our children. We have to change these unhealthy eating habits. And it's a really, really serious problem.
I agree with you.
And it's hard work to do. But
see, here's the thing.
Doing.
Here's the thing. What we need to understand, right? Because I heard. I forget who it was. Some gentleman was either I overheard a conversation or read somewhere, and he was talking about how his child only goes for the unhealthy stuff. And I'm saying to myself, but who introduced that child to that? Because children aren't born eating candy. We introduce that to them. So don't get upset when your child only wants to eat the bad stuff that you introduce them to.
That's a living problem.
Last time I checked, you as the adult was the one who go to the food store and buy things. So
I'm guilty of that. You buy, and then you have to stop, and then you have to make change. But you have to set an example, Michelle. And as adults, we have to, because my kids, if I'm eating something, they become very intrigued. What is that, Mommy's eating? I got to taste that too. And I've been doing that with healthy food.
Right.
And you see the difference. You really do see the difference.
Yeah.
And it really takes us having that control. Okay, especially within what we put in lunch boxes. That's really, really important. Healthy habits start even before that, But we have an issue with portions, especially with starches, and it's a constant battle. It really is, and I like how you called it, and you said bread casket items.
But the whole point of this show, not the whole point, but a big part of this show, though, caller, is that. Much of that, you're talking about portions, much of that is systemic. It's systematic.
Yes, it is.
Because you go to a fast food line, right? You want to drive through, and you say, "I'd like a number 2," or whatever. You know what they say to you?
What you want to upsize it?
No. Do you want medium or large fries?
They never say small.
They never say small. Now clearly that's their way of making more money. But that's what they doing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. They don't say you want small, medium. No. Small don't exist no more. You want medium or large. And if you look at the portion sizes of what we are being sold now compared to back in the day, it's so much bigger now. Mm-hmm. So this is intentional. Mm-hmm. And I don't want people to walk away from this show thinking that my problem is I just don't have the discipline, or no, it is designed for you to fail.
Yep.
That's what we need to understand. Mm-hmm. And then we have to put pressure on our leaders to do the right thing. Stop talking it and do it. Put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. And make the population healthier.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I really appreciate your show. This is a great show.
Thank you so much for calling.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so we're going to go to the last clip of the show. Hidden sugars. Y'all, if y'all grow up playing hide and seek, y'all know how it works. Well, guess what, y'all? The food industry playing hide and seek with you. They hiding sugar in places where you least expect it to be. And if you ain't up on your game, you are consuming far more sugar than you would ever believe.
I'm suspicious of anything that says low-fat or diet, because you know that means that they've had to compensate with a lot of these added sugars. If there's more than 5 ingredients, it's probably a processed food, and there's probably not much real foods in there. It is almost impossible to buy those packaged foods without getting a lot of extra sugars that are just going to be toxic for your metabolism.
We have created a toxic environment. Now, Kelly Brownell at Yale University first coined the term the toxic environment in 2004 in his book Food Fight. And what he was referring to was the changes that we have made in our society that foment obesity. For instance, food available as never before. Food available in places unrelated to eating, like, for instance, whoever heard of having dinner at a gas station? But we do. Designed to taste really good to keep us eating. All of these are absolutely true, and all of these are very important in terms of the obesity epidemic, and I do not make light of them. They are important, but what we're talking about here, when we talk about the toxic environment, is real toxins, real poisons, things that actually damage your mitochondria and make you sick. That's what I'm talking about. This is about something that we are exposed to, that is going on worldwide, that has changed in 30 years. And there's only one thing that has, and it's sugar.
Yeah, people, this is serious. I want to highly recommend that whenever you go to purchase anything, whether it looks like something that should have sugar or not, read the label on the back, because they hide in this in everything. And you have to understand that, especially when you hear things like high fructose corn syrup, run. Don't walk away from that product. Run. Because we've said it time and time again on this show that corn and soy are two of the most heavily sprayed products. First of all, they're genetically modified, and they're heavily sprayed with glyphosate, also known as Roundup, carcinogenic. So they're spraying the corn with this stuff. They're feeding that to the animals that are not organic, and they're feeding it to you. But you may say, okay, Michelle, I'm not going to buy corn anymore. But then you go and you buy a sugary drink. And when you bother to read the label on the back, it says high fructose corn syrup. So you know what that means. That means that corn syrup came from the corn, which is genetically modified, which has been sprayed with Roundup, so they still getting you. Now, you may say, well, I expect to find sugar in a sugary drink. Oh, let me stick a pin in there right there for a second. If you going to buy fruit juice, buy real fruit juice. Look out for fruit juice cocktail. Also beware of fruit juice from concentrate. Because if the fruit juice is from concentrate, that's pure sugar. All they do is add water to that. You drinking straight up sugar. So try to get, if you're going to buy fruit juice that is fresh squeezed or all natural. Don't buy nothing from concentrate, and don't buy the fruit juice cocktail. That's sugar, straight up sugar. But you have to start reading labels, people, on everything, because they hiding this sugar in every ketchup, for instance. You'd be shocked if you read the label of how much sugar is in ketchup. Why? Why is that necessary? Read labels, people. Look out for the hidden names of sugar, because it ain't called sugar on everything. So look up what all of the hidden names of sugar, and look out for those ingredients, because trust me when I tell you, they hide that in everything. Especially boxed foods, over processed foods that are highly processed. You want to try to eat as many whole foods as possible. Okay? That they have an added sugar too. But be very, very vigilant when it comes to understanding what you are putting in your body, because they are hiding this thing in just about everything. And if you're consuming that, you're consuming the stuff that causes cancer. And did you know, speaking of cancer feeds off of sugar. I saw a video of an experiment that was done where they got some cancer cells in a what you call it, when you're in a lab and you put it in the thing to look under the microscope. What you call it, little thing? Not the flask, the little petri dish. That's what you call it. I think it's a petri dish. Anyway, they got these cancer cells, and they observed them under the microscope, and then they added sugar to that, and the cells, it was like a party, like like these cancer cells just went, oh man, like it's you could see it. They just got all excited because that's what they feed on, sugar. So people, in this instance, you got to take responsibility. You can't rely on the government to do it for you, because clearly they ain't doing it. Take responsibility to the degree that you decide that you can start reading these labels to see what you're putting in your body. You got to do it, because you need to understand something. The food industry and the pharmaceutical industry, they ain't your friend. So don't think, oh, they say this is healthy, so I'm going to eat it because they tell me it's healthy. Child, if you believe that, I got a nice sale price on the Sir Sidney Poitier Bridge. You want to buy it? Don't believe everything that they tell you, because much of the foods that they tell you are healthy are helping to kill you. So become a professional label reader. Read the labels, people. Understand what you're putting in your body. If there's an ingredient in there that's so long you can't pronounce it, that ain't supposed to be in your body if you can't even pronounce the word. That should tell you, run. Don't walk away from it, run. Because if you can't pronounce it, it ain't good. All right? Look for whole foods that, have a couple of ingredients that you know how to pronounce it, you know what they are. And if you come across something that you're not familiar with, Google it. If you go in there with your phone, Google it. If you see one long word and you don't understand what it is, Google it so you could understand what you are putting in your body. Go organic, people, as much as you can. Go organic. Go to the local farmer's market. Talk to your farmer. Find out what they're using to grow their food with. Go organic as much as you can to avoid the things that that are killing us. But you gotta cut down on the sugar. And there are other healthy alternatives. Stevia leaf is a great one. Really, really good. But you have to train your palate to the point where you're not addicted to that sugary taste. So like right now, if I go, let's say I go to Tiki Bikini Hut, and I went there the other day and I had the most delicious watermelon daiquiri. And I said to them, I do not want it to be sweet. Please do not put no bunch of, and so it was refreshing. It wasn't overly sweet. Like you go to some places and you get a daiquiri and it's like you get a sugar rush because it's so sweet. I can't take it anymore because I've trained my palate to, I just can't take things that are too sweet anymore. I don't even buy sugar. So I want to encourage you guys. My time is running out. Become professional label readers. We're going to talk about more of this obesity storm, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, next week and probably the week after, because there's so much information. But at the end of the day, you will know that you can do something to help yourself. That's what it's all about. My time is gone. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Tomorrow, I got to remind the person who's pulling that together for me. Let me just say it's going to be a hot one tomorrow. Don't you dare miss it. All right? Have a good afternoon, everybody.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B in the Bahamas.
Yeah. Steve Harvey here from the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Everybody knows that I love to chill out with great music. There's only one place you can get this.